Four, three, two. Well,
I
we're
think,
live.
yeah, it's been going for a few seconds there.
Welcome to the Road to Hackers. We are your unofficial source of fantasy football information, and I like to say entertainment because information.
We're entertaining.
And
We're entertaining.
yeah, we're entertaining. And so my name is Judah Buddha. I am here with It's Jared, the stud. Unfortunately, right now, AJ Herschel, the kid, is on assignment. So he may join us in a minute. He was just asking me, have you guys gone live yet? We were talking a little bit about the COVID. Who isn't? And but we do want to get into some fantasy football goodness. Jared, how you doing tonight?
Doing okay. How about you?
I've never been more mediocre. I am interested to see. There's a little bit of panic. I want to start a hashtag. If they cancel NFL, we riot. I want to start that hashtag. You know how they had it for like if they kill Shane, we riot or something. I know what was it?
It was The Walking Dead. If Daryl dies, we riot.
If Daryl dies, we riot. If the NFL dies, we riot. I'm getting a little weirded out. I'm a little scared. But I don't know. How do you feel like we're okay? We're gonna make it.
Specifically, like society or the NFL?
Oh, society's screwed.
But I mean, because the NFL is going to be like a Twinkie or a cockroach. It's just it's going to survive everybody else. You know? they'll raid the zoos and put like penguins in the stands or something. You know, the NFL is unkillable. You know?
It's true. It's true. It's
society. It's like 50-50 right now. The NFL will be fine.
Oh man, it is such a strange time. Somebody was what was it? Just the whole toilet paper thing. But
yeah, I've got a friend who I don't remember if I've said any of this on the podcast before or not, but he had like brain surgery back in, I don't know if it was 2014, 2015 or something like that. And so he had said that his joke is always that like he's never sure that he ever like woke up from that, like he's still just in some sort of coma. And I said like look, if it turns out that I am a character in your stupid coma nightmare, I'm gonna be really upset for not being better written and having a better storyline. But no, like everything for the last several years has just seemed like alternate reality. And I always joke about like that I'm still trying to find my way back to my correct timeline, you know. So
once there was a way to get back home. You know, that's a funny concept. Like what kind of character would I be like if my friends wrote me, you know? Like if I was that's a very interesing concept.
Now, do you think like if they just had fun with who you are, or if they wrote you as they see you,
they see me, like I have to play out the character they wrote for me in real life? That would be pretty interesting.
Yeah, that would be interesting. I don't know if I could do a as good of an impression of you as I did with with Ford there. You know, I mean, I just had a lot more in person time around Ford to get that impression down. But
yes, because you lived with him, right?
He and I were roommates for our senior year of college. Yeah.
We're talking about the Surfing Violinist podcast. But to get back to NFL football, how long have you been doing fantasy? I know we've talked about it, but I forgot. When did you start fantasy football?
I'm trying to remember what year I started fantasy football. I started fantasy sports.
You didn't start with football.
I didn't start with football. I started with basketball. and that was actually probably the most dominant team that I'll ever have. It was just
Really?
like I don't know. It was all the way back. So it was back in the TFC days, at least.
Really?
Yeah, I don't remember if I was doing it at the end of high school or not, but so
So like
20 years, basically roughly 20 years for me.
1999, so 2000 during
hmm
the
hmm
Y2K, you were
hmm
doing wow.
Yeah, Y2K didn't bring down fantasy sports. So yeah, I started out with basketball. I honestly cannot remember. Oh, you know what? I can go back into my Yahoo profile. Well, I don't know if I started with Yahoo or not, so that might not.
Yeah, that's interesting because the app wasn't even around till I don't even think I started with the app.
Oh yeah, I mostly have used the
The
just the
desktop.
desktop version. Yeah, even still
Interesting.
now.
Really? I rarely use the desktop.
I'm just always working on my computer.
Oh, okay.
What the crap? Oh, okay, I guess it's not. Let me look at my profile here. Yeah, while we're doing it, yeah, I'm curious because I need to. I can probably see what year that I actually
Yeah.
started.
Well, see, back then I was huge. I was a huge basketball guy. I was like I was team captain in high school
Mm,
basketball. I loved the NFL. Anthony Hardaway was my, mwah, I loved Anthony Hardaway. I was a big Grant Hill enthusiast. I have all their rookie basketball cards, even their what is that called? The Fleer. What was the ones that were kind of like they still have them. They kind of like hologrammy.
yeah,
Oh, I can't remember. Export or XL? Fleer XL? Is that no? I
right.
can't remember.
Yeah,
I had them
uh,
all,
nice. Yeah,
but I didn't do fantasy. That I man, you're way ahead of the curve.
I was ahead of the curve on that. Yeah. So yeah, all going all the way back to Yahoo's thing profile only goes back to 2003, but I know I was
That's when I
doing it
started.
well, but that was, that's just where it shows. But I was doing it prior to then. So, cause
Oh
it
wait,
was,
no, 2003. No, I wasn't starting 2003.
yeah, you
It's
were
two,
more recent, right?
yeah, no, it's 2000. Oh man, what are we?
What are we now?
2006,
2020
I think
now.
is when I started.
Okay.
2006,
Yeah,
2007, somewhere in there.
I was doing it for sure. Like even kind of starting at TFC. So it's been
Wow,
like right at 20 years. Yeah.
wow,
So
fascinating. Hey, leave a comment if I see two people are watching. Maybe it's just us watching ourselves. I don't know, but if if you want to leave it in the comments, tell us when and why you started fantasy football. Now, Jared, there is a little news. There are some non-trades, some drops, I guess you could call it. What is it really called? They let them go. They let some people go.
released,
Released. Yeah.
released.
Well,
Yeah.
okay. Who do you want to talk about first?
Well, I mean, I think the biggest one is Cam. Not that we didn't really know that it was coming in some form, but we thought that it might be a trade, So,
So they just straight up released him.
they just straight up released him. Yeah, they couldn't find a taker, I suppose, and
That surprises me.
well, I don't remember off the top of my head what his contract was, and so that plays into it at times. Like that was a big factor with Todd Gurley. I'm sure there's someone who would have been willing to give up if you took the money away. Someone who would have been willing to give up some sort of compensation for Todd Gurley. But because of his contract, it just made a lot more sense to let him get released and then, give him a 1-year deal or something. So, that could have been it with Cam, but Cam is a really weird situation because you don't know exactly what you're going to get. His career has been up and down, especially in recent years. You don't know how much the injury played into, some of his performance and accuracy. You don't really know if it's, is it fine now going forward? What's his body like after all those years as being a runner? So I think people just it's
Oh.
hard. Oh, what's up?
Hey,
Hey,
my
Jay
apologies
Herschel.
for being late, but I'm here.
That's okay.
Okay.
We're just talking about Cam. So
I heard.
yeah, we don't know what he's like.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think that the teams had a better insight into maybe some of his injuries, and that's why he was not picked up? Oh, but you're saying some of it was the cash that they had to pay. They had to
Well,
pick up some of the tab.
I'm guessing without clicking, going to the trouble of opening a browser window and googling what his contract is. So it's an extreme level of laziness right now. I don't. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe if one of us can look that up and see like what his actual contract is. But I don't think teams know. I don't think teams are going to have any medical on him that. I don't think the Panthers would put that out, or I think it's just the unknown. I think we've talked about that a little bit in here. It's just like the unknown of like, what are you actually getting? Like, I think with someone like Tom Brady or Phillip Rivers, even though we know their skills have declined and, Brady's over 40, Rivers is approaching 40, you can still project roughly what you're going to get. Cam, I don't think there's any way to really know. Like, you could get, something better than you're expecting. You could get something that, the Panthers really shut him down last year to play guys like Kyle Allen and Will Greer. That's how ineffective he was. But I think part of it too, like from the Panthers perspective, is I think they were just ready to move on. They don't have a contender. And you see teams really kind of want to build around one guy. And once Christian McCaffrey established himself as the face of the Panthers, then they moved him on. It's like DeAndre Hopkins in Houston, like Deshaun Watson's now been there for a few years. He's the guy. Hopkins was the guy who sold tickets for years before Deshaun came along. And then once Deshaun came along, even as great as Hopkins is, Bill O'Brien decided he just, didn't like him, or it wasn't a fit or whatever, and was willing to get rid of him. So, a lot of times it seems like it comes down to just personality dynamics and wanting to have a guy to build around,
Yeah. Where did Kyle Allen go?
Kyle Allen actually just got dealt to the Redskins. To the Redskins, yeah. So I was right about a Panthers quarterback to the Redskins. I was just wrong about which one it would be.
Man, the Redskins are going to be like the island of misfits. What is it called?
The island of misfit quarterbacks.
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
what theirs is going to be. It's going to be Alex Smith, Dwayne Haskins, Kyle Allen. Add a couple more. Just add a couple more in there. Just get it like a 5-way
Grab
quarterback.
Josh McCown. That'd be perfect.
Josh McCown, draft someone. Draft someone. Just there you go. There you go.
Okay, well, that's interesting. So they are full blown going with a Bridgewater McCaffrey attack.
It looks at. they can draft someone. They've got the the 7th pick or something like that.
And did they get? You said they got somebody. Did you say they got Anderson?
The receiver, Robbie Anderson.
Robbie Anderson. So that's pretty interesting.
Yeah. Yeah, so AJ looks like he has some thoughts on that.
Yeah.
I don't want to hear another thing about Robbie Anderson
No?
for another. Okay, I'm sorry. He has burned me one too many times in fantasy for the last 2 years. So I don't know. I know Carolina Bridgewater. I want proof before I do anything with him. Right now, I'm just like, okay, you do your thing in Carolina. I will leave you to that unless you come up with constant production. He is given me one too many 3-point weeks on 2 targets. I'm sorry.
I'd be afraid because you look at DJ Moore's there, Curtis Samuel's there. So is he the number 2? Is he the number 3?
Yeah.
I would be afraid to really touch anybody beyond DJ Moore.
And how many catches is McCaffrey going to steal
Right,
either?
right.
He might be number 4.
Right.
Well, I was going to say, I think it does help McCaffrey because it really opens up. Like, he's got all kinds of targets on the outside to open up the middle there.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. it's a crutch argument. What do you think, AJ, about the Cam release? He gone.
I mean, I kind of felt like it was coming. Like, I feel like it was really obvious that it was going to happen after they signed Bridgewater. They were either going to trade him or they were going to release him.
But the fact that nobody wanted him.
Yeah. But we just talked about last time that a lot of the teams who are looking for quarterbacks got some kind of 8-year veteran quarterback already. And then the teams that didn't, Cincinnati, etc., they're just going to go to the draft. We all know they're going to go to the draft and pick someone up. It's like there's an abundance of veteran quarterbacks at this point. Like all of the 2008-esque draft classes are coming back to haunt us at this point. And so
an abundance of mediocrity.
Exactly. There you go. And so I don't. It doesn't
story of my life.
That didn't go anywhere. It doesn't surprise me.
Yeah, well, speaking of, we were, before we got on, I was telling Judah that they had there had been a report out of somewhere today that I guess it turned out that Tom Brady actually was interested in the Colts. But the Colts were not interested in Tom Brady, which is very interesting. And so that, so I think, so they were putting that question out there, like, like Colts fans, who would you rather have, Tom Brady or Phillip Rivers? And like, I get why they didn't. I think there were multiple reasons why they didn't want to sign Brady. One, I mean, he is, what now? Is he 41, 42?
He's 42.
42, I think. Yeah. So I think he wanted a 2-year deal. They just gave Rivers one. Man, that would be, which I don't think this would play into it that much. I think if it'd been the right fit, they would have still brought him in. But man, imagine him coming into Peyton's house, to Andrew Luck's house.
My goodness.
And then can you imagine then, like, it would have, it would have been very interesting. The other thing is, it had to be in the back of their minds what happened with Josh McDaniels in New England, and that this could be like, even if Brady was well intentioned, that all of a sudden the Pats could say, nah, you know what, we want to screw the Colts over again. We're going to offer him a ton of money to come back at the last second. I think I'm sure they would never in a million years acknowledge that, but I think that
it had to be in the back of their mind.
Back of their minds.
Yeah.
I'll tell you though, but I'm sort of I don't know, part of me would have gotten tremendous enjoyment out of Tom Brady playing with the Colts. Not because I think it would have, not because I think, he would have been necessarily a better fit than Phillip Rivers. I think Rivers is probably a better fit. Or not that I thought, that they would win a Super Bowl or something, but because there's a part of me that when people take something too seriously, I like to see like just the screw turned to where they're just in sort of like agony from it. You know what I mean? And Tom Brady with the Colts would have made Colts fans uncomfortable. It would have made Patriots fans / Tom Brady fans uncomfortable. And the whole time I would have just been like, sitting there like, enjoying every second of it. So I kind of regret it because it would have just been so painfully awkward for so many people who are just so serious about these rivalries and things like that. I would have sort of loved it.
Missed opportunities. That would have been really weird though, just to think about that, because I know we talked about how like the Colts are in some kind of like weird limbo state with whether they're trying to win a Super Bowl or getting younger. And like Brady, if you threw Brady in there, I would be like, what is your plan? Right. I would have been really confused. That would have been actually really funny to watch.
It would have been bizarre on the same level that it was bizarre to see Brett Favre in a Vikings.
Yeah, for sure. I just saw, so there's a couple other things going on. So they have, the Titans have decided they're definitely going to keep my man.
Mm-hmm. The guy you've been on from the beginning.
Yeah, I mean,
of course,
it's obvious. I can't remember his name.
Let's just let him flounder.
Henry. So
I was just about to put the
Derrick
screen all on
Henry.
you there.
Oh, you already did. Derrick Henry.
Even
So
when you
they're-
said Henry, I was waiting for Hunter Henry.
now Hunter Henry, I'd like to talk to him going forward, but Derrick Henry is definitely going to be with the Titans. I think there was some question how they were going to do that, but they released Dion, right? What's his name?
Dion Lewis.
Dion Lewis.
Okay, yeah.
He signed with the Giants, which is like the Giants didn't have enough like mediocre running backs to go behind
Saquon.
Saquon. Does this bode well for are they going to franchise tag your man, the quarterback?
Ryan
Tannehill.
Yeah.
How are they going to keep him around?
Did they already do something?
I think they already. I think
they
they already
strike a
gave
deal?
him a multi-year extension and used the tag on Henry. I think.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, they did.
That's what I didn't know.
I think he got over. I want to say, $7 million in guarantee.
That makes more sense.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I mean that keeps that offense intact. Henry should be. Henry's just late 20s. I mean he's just kind of entering his late 20s. He still should be fine. I mean I'm almost kind of starting to look at him as kind of like a Marshawn Lynch. There's been this fear of Derrick Henry, but I don't know. I mean, what more does the guy have to do to prove himself? And so it keeps that intact. AJ Brown, thrived as a rookie receiver under Tannehill. I would be hesitant to trust Tannehill as anything more than a second quarterback, and then you play him if he still does well. But guys like AJ Brown, Derrick Henry, maybe the tight end Jonnu Smith or something like that. I think you're still good to trust them.
Yeah, especially they got rid of what is his name? That other tight end,
Delaney Walker.
Yeah, Delaney. So I found that interesting. And then the other thing we were talking about, you brought it up, Jared, was Perryman went to who did he go to?
The Jets.
Jets.
That's so strange to me.
I don't know. I sort of see him as like a rich man's Anderson, right?
He's a former first round pick. The Ravens took him as a first round pick. And then he had just the worst hands on the planet, and
but
then
multiple injuries too. All the time.
And but sort of like but it was a different situation than someone like Devontae Parker in Miami, who had tons of injuries too, but when he did play, he could show flashes of stuff. So, but with Perryman, it was just like stone hands. And so they let him go. And then finally last year in Tampa, especially after Mike Evans went down, and then especially after Chris Godwin went down, Perryman had to become the number one wide receiver in that offense. So it could be an interesting pairing. I think he's probably an upgrade from Anderson. I think Anderson was pretty one-dimensional down the field. Not that Brashard Perryman is going to blow anybody away with his, depth of route tree, but I think at worst for the Jets, it's a push, if not a upgrade, if he stays healthy.
Yeah. I think it's really weird to me to see Perriman gone, because if I'm Brashad Perriman, I would want to be back with the Buccaneers this year, because am I a wide receiver 3 at that point? Yes, but we know how injury prone Evans can be on occasion. And then still you've got Brady at quarterback now, who's much more consistent.
Mm-hmm.
And then he goes to the Jets with Sam Darnold, who, I mean, he's good. He had a solid couple years behind one of the worst offensive lines I've ever seen, but I just don't get it. Like, it's good for the Jets, but I don't get how this helps Perriman as much. He goes to a mediocre team in a division that is getting more mediocre by the second now. I just don't get the move from his perspective. I don't get it. Doesn't make sense.
There's going to be some rough games in there for him going up against Stephon Gilmore with the Patriots. and then the Bills corner, whose name I've forgotten, but he's really good too. So that's 4 games. That's a quarter of your season where you've got really tough matchups. So yeah, I'm not going to be trying to outbid anybody in auction drafts for Perryman or any of the Jets receivers.
Yeah. You thinking of Tre'Davious White?
I think that's it. I think it's White.
Yeah.
So play both those teams twice a year. That's a quarter of your schedule against tough corners. So
it's going to be tough.
So the other thing I saw that we talked about briefly before we got on was the Cowboys center, Travis Frederick, unexpectedly retired today, I think at age 29. And we were, sort of discussing what's that look like for Zeke's outlook at running back.
Yeah. I think the Cowboys line is still good though. The Cowboys line isn't bad when they're healthy. When they're healthy, they're not bad.
He's a big part of it though, especially the center, especially in an offense where Zeke is not like an outside runner, really.
Right.
You're not like running sweeps with him. So that's Zeke already, like Judah was already frustrated with Zeke last year. And then now he's lost his, star center, who's not only huge in blocking, but the center is such a part of the protections too,
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like now some of it could have been last year Zeke not having any kind of practice or with the team until the last minute. But the offensive line was struggling last year. If you look back at the tape, they had even when they had good blocks, there wasn't simpatico between him and his offensive line. You bring in a new guy at center, and let's hope what's his name, Smith or
Tyron Smith, Zach Martin.
Yeah, Tyron Smith can stay healthy, but the dude is getting old,
Mm-hmm.
And he seems like he's out a couple weeks every year or more. So yeah, I'm not feeling a whole lot of confidence about Zeke this year. But it could be a little arbitrage play if he falls low in the draft. Like say he falls the second round, which I don't think he will, but
No.
things are starting to get a little interesting in the first round. You play in a 10-team league, there's not enough room for all the people that everybody loves.
So speaking of, I mentioned this to Judah prior to the broadcast. So Matthew Berry.
Yes.
Have you seen these?
I've heard tales from you and Judah Buddha. So no, I have not. I think I watched a minute of his show on ESPN and switched back to watching SportsCenter replays or something like that.
Okay, so I tend to agree with his like rankings and projections a good bit. I mean, especially like on a week-to-week basis. I don't know how much about prior to the season, but so don't look these up or anything right now because I found these and I'm sure he had already put out some way too early ones, but I guess he sort of updated these based on. Let's see when the date was. Okay, just this morning that he updated his. And now, granted, these are full PPR rankings, so the skill positions beyond quarterback are going to be a little bit different than what they would be for half point PPR. But there were some interesting things out of that I wanted to see if you guys could guess what his rankings were on this.
Well, I'm going to bring up a list. I just got to bring up some kind of list. I can't remember everything. How about if I bring up a list of like the top 5 from last year? Is that cheating? Okay.
Sure. No, it's fine. So there were some interesting things in especially I think with him at quarterback and running back.
Okay.
Wide receiver was pretty much how I would kind of expect it to go. Tight end was a little bit interesting, but So his quarterback rankings, I want to see if you can give me. I'll give you 1 and 2 because I think we know most people are going to have Lamar Jackson and Patrick Mahomes 1, 2 in some order, and that's his order. Lamar number 1, Patrick Mahomes number 2. I want to see if you can give me 3, 4, 5 because 5 in particular is pretty interesting to me.
Okay.
But what would you guess or maybe how you would, rank them 3, 4, 3,
Okay.
5.
So are we saying what are his 3, 4, 5, or what
Yeah.
would our 3, 4, 5 be?
Well, since you don't really, I don't know. You can do both. I
Okay.
guess just tell us, or whichever one you want to do. But yeah. What do you think, or maybe how you think how would you rank them? Let's start with how you would rank them.
Okay, so after Jackson and Mahomes, I mean, what's today? March 24th, I think. So 5 months ahead of schedule. It would probably go something like maybe Russell Wilson, Deshaun Watson, and honestly, with Hopkins now, I would say Kyler Murray at 5. With DeAndre Hopkins, I'd put him up there.
What?
I think so. Yeah.
Wow.
I mean, Murray finished 8th in total points last year. So you add DeAndre Hopkins, magical things could happen.
All right. What about you, Judah?
So
So 3, 4, 5 behind.
3, 4, 5.
Unless for some reason you would put somebody above Lamar or Mahomes.
No. Deshaun Watson. So 3 Deshaun Watson, 4 Russell Wilson.
Mm-hmm.
Who's he throwing to? No. I'll go Deshaun Watson.
Well, Russell Wilson's throwing to Metcalf and
That's right. He's got Metcalf now.
Tyler Lockett.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll go
And Greg
Deshaun Watson. All right. Deshaun Watson. I'm gonna have to put.
This is fun.
This is tough.
I'm
All right,
enjoying
Deshaun
it.
Watson, Russell Wilson, and then I'm gonna say either Aaron Rodgers or Matt Ryan.
Okay.
So out of those 6 combined, you got one of Matthew Berry's.
Wow.
What?
Well, I forgot about Drew Brees. He's got to be up there.
No, not him either. So Matthew Berry's is at 3. Dak.
What?
I mean, Dak did finish 2nd last year.
Yeah, and so he gets, he's still
I
got
give you that.
Amari Cooper. Michael Gallup will be better. He can dump off some to those running backs. Blake Jarwin is a solid young tight end. So Dak's 3. Kyler's at 4. Kyler's the one that you got right.
All right, let's go. There we
Nice,
go.
nice.
And I think that's reasonable. I
would put him top 5.
Hopkins, Christian Kirk, Larry Fitzgerald will be better suited as a number 3. He can dump off to Kenyon Drake. He's going to run. He's going to run a lot. Okay. I'm sorry. You have something, Judah?
I just want to say, welcome to 2020. This year's version of Mayfield.
Oh, you think Kyler's going to be this
What?
year's version? Okay.
Get out.
Everybody's going to
out
be
of here.
everybody's
Get
going to
out.
be to the moon for
Get out.
the
No.
Cardinals, and
No.
I'm sorry. I'm
sorry.
not buying.
I disagree with that.
Sell.
With all of
Sell
my
high. Sell high.
No way. No, Mayfield and the Browns stayed the same. You just added the most explosive wide receiver in the NFL.
Yeah,
to
the Browns never added a explosive wide receiver. Oh wait, they did.
Yes, another one with
Odell
a big
Beckham.
that locker room. Great choice, Cleveland. Great choice.
Okay.
Jared, how about you give us number 5?
Okay,
We're gonna go on.
so number 5 is really the reason that I wanted to do this, because I thought this one was the most interesting and the most unexpected one. But I can see the argument for it. Number 5, he has Josh Allen.
I
Okay.
knew it. I knew
Okay.
it.
I considered putting him in there.
Yeah,
Hmm.
I can
Yeah.
see the argument for that. I mean, he's a year better. He
Yeah.
runs. He's going to be a year better as a passer. He just got Stephon Diggs. So I can kind of see the argument for that. But I found that pretty interesting.
That is
All right.
interesting.
Okay.
Yeah. So then the rest of it, just to roll through it. So 6 is Russell Wilson.
Yeah.
7 is Deshaun Watson. 8 is Matt Ryan. Nine's pretty interesting. He puts Tom Brady back up there. He's got faith that Godwin and Evans are going to elevate Brady's game.
All right, fair enough.
10 is Breeze, and then 11 is the guy that I'm really interested in this year is Daniel Jones. Daniel Jones had some monster games down the stretch, and I know that his receivers are not the best, but I mean they're solid, but he doesn't have like an elite wide receiver to throw to. But let me just because I want to go back to his stats for a second.
Yeah, he had some monster games.
Yeah, so down the stretch, I guess 2 of his last 5 games he had a 4 touchdown game and he had a 5 touchdown game. And and he was solid, on some of those in between. But I don't know.
Plus he's going to get to play Washington twice. He's going to get to Washington twice.
Right.
Well, we don't know if Washington's going to be terrible again.
They're never great, but we don't know exactly what the defense will be like. Okay, so running backs were a little bit interesting with him too. Let's again just do 3. What would you say would be your top 3 running backs?
Judah Booty, you want to take this one first?
McCaffrey, Saquon. Oh man, this is really tough.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Aaron Jones and Cook.
Well, you can do 4, but I was just gonna ask for 3.
Cook and Henry.
Or 5.
Just top 5, okay.
Yeah, we did top 5 last time.
No, we did 3, 4, 5.
Defaulted. Yeah.
But McCaffrey's got to be his number 1, right?
I'll tell you at the end.
Oh wow! Wow.
So all right, AJ.
Okay, top 3: McCaffrey, Henry, Aaron Jones. McCaffrey, Henry, Aaron Jones.
Go top 5 since Judah did too.
All right. McCaffrey, Henry, Aaron Jones. No, not him. They're in trouble. McCaffrey, Henry, Aaron Jones, Saquon, and then I'll go Dalvin Cook because
I don't think
injuries push him down to 5.
Okay, so McCaffrey is his number 1.
Okay, there we go.
So he didn't go super crazy there. However, this was the interesting thing to me. Saquon wasn't 2. Aaron Jones wasn't 2. He actually puts Dalvin Cook number 2.
That makes sense.
With the injuries, it's a little iffy. I mean, and Dalvin Cook had a great season until you needed him.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I could not put him. I don't think I could put him 2. I mean, maybe if you draft his handcuff, and depending on what his schedule is, if his schedule's really enticing, but man, I couldn't draft him over Saquon.
Yeah,
I couldn't draft him over Saquon.
Like I'm just looking up his injury history: 2 shoulder tears, 2 hamstring problems,
ACL,
and then a sprained ankle. No, that's too much for me.
Yeah, I couldn't do that one.
Yeah.
Okay, so his receivers were pretty well what I would expect them to be. I did find it interesting that he shoved all the way down to around 19 was Keenan Allen. So Keenan Allen, 3rd round pick in general last year, but he's losing Phillip Rivers, and we don't know what his quarterback situation is going to be. So that may change depending on quarterback who they draft. But Keenan dropped. Probably more so than anybody else. Odell, going from last year where Odell was,
way too high,
probably hovering around maybe the 3rd, 4th wide receiver taken. Odell is now 12 behind the likes of DJ Moore, Allen Robinson, and Kenny Galladay. So how the mighty have fallen there.
Yeah,
So,
I can see him under Galladay and Robinson, but Moore is a little bit shocking to me. He's high on Bridgewater, I guess.
Yeah. Oh. Okay. I got to go back to this. Sorry, I jumped off running backs too fast. So let me give you his top 10 because number 10 was maybe the most shocking one.
It better not be David Montgomery.
You're close. So the 10 were McCaffrey, Cook, Barkley, Zeke, Kamara, Henry, Chubb, Jones, Eckler, and at number 10, coming in above Joe Mixon, coming in above Joe Mixon and David Johnson. Was Joe Mixon and Josh Jacobs is David Johnson.
Wow. Well,
Yeah.
I mean, he could.
Huh.
That one shocked me because, I mean, all people talked about last year was, I mean, how bad David Johnson looked, you know? I mean,
But he was injured.
Yeah. I mean, we don't really know. I don't know. Is he still going to split with Duke? Is Duke still going to be there? Is he still going to split?
That would be interesting because Duke is a receiver.
Yeah. And I mean,
so
David,
is Johnson.
right. Yeah. Duke and David. But I found that really interesting that he would put David Johnson above Joe Mixon.
Yeah, I wouldn't do that, but I don't know. I mean, you know, one of the things that these guys do, I don't know if he does this in particular, but they go out and they project out for each game, for each, you know, sometimes they'll use, you know, like a bot to project out, and then they'll kind of, you know, play with the numbers. Maybe he just statted out better. He's like, oh, he's got a high potential for touchdowns, you know. But yeah, it seems like Mixon would have a much better projection than. Do we even know who they're playing? Like as far as their,
we know the teams right now. We don't know the schedule, the order of them.
I'd like to look at the teams. So I mean, it's interesting.
Yeah.
David Johnson.
I mean, he's going to be in the NFC South. The Colts should have a good defense, but Jacksonville gutted their defense. Tennessee, I guess, would be, you know, so.
Oh boy, Texans are gonna have a rough go of it. They've got Steelers. They're gonna include the Steelers, the Patriots, the Vikings, and the Bears. That's not the greatest for defenses to have to play as a running back.
No, that's not.
It's rough.
Yeah.
And Baltimore, by the way, them too. Yeah,
and the Colts twice. The Colts who just got DeForest Buckner and already had Darius.
I'm not high on David Johnson.
No,
I'm not high on the Texans.
I don't know though. I mean,
no, I wouldn't be high. I would be scared to take Deshaun after losing Hopkins, like for where he'll probably go.
How did he end up last year, Deshaun?
I think he finished. I had the scoring leaders up. Give me 1 second. He finished the running backs.
Because I have Deshaun in the top 5, finishing top 5.
Yeah, Deshaun finished 4th last year.
Yeah,
3,800 yards, 12 passing, 7 rushing touchdowns.
But
and it's not like he leaned on.
No, but think about how much that teams had to double team, triple team.
That's a good point.
DeAndre Hopkins, you know,
Hopkins, yeah.
And so when you've got him drawing away all that attention, you know, he had when Will Fuller was healthy, he had him. Kenny Stills, he had him. They started throwing more to the tight ends, throwing more to Duke Johnson at running back. But you know, you take away DeAndre Hopkins drawing a double team at least, and that significantly changes, you know, how teams play them.
Yeah. Cobb is not going to draw double team.
No, not anymore.
He would benefit from teams forgetting that he's out on the field.
Yeah.
So, yes.
So
Sorry, go ahead, finish.
No. What
Yeah,
were you gonna say?
I was just gonna say, especially since continuing on the topic of Hopkins being so influential. I mean, he didn't have the greatest or most consistent year last year, but he still caught 7 touchdown passes out of Deshaun's 12 passing touchdowns last year.
Yeah.
Meaning that's more than half, and that's a lot.
Yeah. Yeah. To finish up running backs, there's some interesting spots like, James Conner, first round pick last year, is all the way down at 24.
Yeah.
I would not be willing to. I would maybe take him as like a 7th round guy or something like that. But with all his injuries, I would not want to take a chance on James Conner again. So
where's Ingram on his list?
Ingram is down at 21. So 19, 20, 21 are Melvin Gordon, Leonard Fournette, and Mark Ingram. So
Get out.
I kind of get the logic for that. I think he's going to assume that, with age and everything, they're going to start giving more carries to somebody like Justice Hill. I think it is a little dicey in terms of like how the carry split's going to break down in Baltimore, but Ingram could definitely still overperform. He could have another year like last year.
Well, and last year was really, really good the first half of the year, and spotty in the rest of the year. I mean, you had a lot of him, right?
I had a lot of Mark Ingram. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Same
So both of you guys. So like, wasn't there like some real drought months in there?
That bad.
I don't think there was like prolonged like month long type things here. Let's see real quick.
I know he started out with like 6 touchdowns in like 4 games.
He'd have like, I'm looking at his stats right now. He'd have 1 or 2 games sometimes every now and then where he'd hit about 8 or 9, but most of the time he'd be hitting 15 points. So good flex spot.
Yeah,
and that's full PPR right there.
Yeah, and the fantasy semis, he was pretty big in the semis there. He had I guess only 86 total yards, but he had 2 touchdowns against the Jets.
He's great at the goal line.
He's very touchdown. Yeah, he's touchdown dependent. His last, I guess, 4 games, he only hit 60 yards or more once. And that was those 76 against the Jets. So most of the time he was not, anything resembling a yardage monster after the first part of the year. So I get it. I would be I would feel less optimistic about him this year. But your guy, David Montgomery, you're asking about him. He is all the way down at 31.
Okay, that's fair. Totally fair.
Sowie.
He's at 31, behind Jordan Howard, Ronald Jones, Kareem Hunt, and Malcolm Brown. That's how far David Montgomery's fallen.
I'd like to redact my previous statement from the record about how that's fair.
Oh man, that hurts.
Yeah, I think he could be a potential
Sleeper.
Sleeper this year.
Yeah.
It could be almost like a Melvin Gordon situation where his first year was so bad. It was so bad. And then his second year, he was balling out. So I think you could see something like that.
Well, what about let's just talk about wide receivers and then I've got to go.
Okay. Yeah. So wide receivers and tight ends, wide receivers are mostly, I think, what you would expect. In the top 10, Michael Thomas, Devontae Adams, Tyreek Hill, Hopkins, Julio, Cooper, Godwin, DJ Moore, Mike Evans, Allen Robinson. Like I said, there's some other guys in that second group of 10 that are.
Would DJ Moore in the top 10?
That's shocking.
DJ Moore is number 8. That's what. But DJ Moore last year was so consistent. He was so consistent, and he really didn't have. You got to think he had Kyle Allen throwing to him, and so. Let's look from he got hurt.
Oh yeah, he was eerily consistent down the stretch until the last week.
He was. The last week he didn't do much of anything, but those, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 weeks prior to the final week of the season, his yardage, he had double-digit targets in 5 of those 7 games. He had 100 yards or more in 4 of the 7, and then the 3 he didn't, it was 75, 81, 95. The bad thing really was he just, he wasn't getting the touchdowns. He only had 4 touchdowns for the season. But he had a good year. He had a good year. So and just to wrap it up with tight ends, it's interesting, he still goes with, of course, Travis Kelce and George Kittle are at the top. He still sticks with Ertz at 3.
Okay, yeah.
But he also puts Dallas Goedert at 10. So he's actually got 2 Eagles tight ends in the top 10.
Really?
So, yeah. What's interesting to me is I think there's going to be some real value later on. Like he's got, Noah Fant, the Broncos tight end, is at 12. Jack Doyle, the Colts tight end's at 13. Jack Doyle's going to go from Jacoby Brissett to Phillip Rivers, who has always loved to throw to his tight ends. He's, let's see here. He's going to have, hang on, let me find this.
Well, while you're looking for that, this is my proposal that by next week we have our top 10.
Okay.
Okay.
By
All
next
right.
Tuesday, you mean?
No, by next Saturday.
So are we talking this Saturday as in like 5 days, or Saturday as in like
By the
next?
next time we meet.
Okay.
Okay, this
There you
Saturday.
go.
That should
Oh,
be
yeah.
interesting because I actually have a game for us to play on Saturday as well.
Oh, excellent.
Oh.
Okay, so yeah, just to close that out, yeah, he has the Falcons' new tight end Hayden Hurst at 16. I think that could be a sleeper. He's in. Let's see. I think this is this will be going into Hurst's 3rd season. This was, I believe, Austin Hooper's last year was either his 3rd or 4th season. But typically it's just kind of at a point where tight ends can really, start to break out. Let's see, that was Hooper's 4th season. So his 3rd season was sort of an incremental game. But he had a good year. And another one to watch out for is he's got all the way down at 20. He's got TJ Hawkinson, the Lions, rookie tight end that,
Interesting.
he could, potentially be a breakout guy in year 2. So
I'm curious, where does he put Mark Andrews on that list?
Andrews is 4th.
Yep, there you go.
And that was what I was kind of interested in, to see if he put Andrews maybe above Ertz, but he didn't.
That's
Yeah.
interesting to me. Huh.
Yeah.
I think I'm going to have Andrews above Ertz.
I
me
think I will too. So Andrews last year, Andrews and Ertz. Andrews had 852 yards and 10 touchdowns. Ertz had 916 and 6 touchdowns. But you got to think, like, Dallas Goedert's getting more. Is getting.
I might
more,
even have Goddard above Ertz.
I couldn't go that far.
Yeah.
But you got to consider how bad. You've got Dallas Goedert coming along, and so last year he had 600 yards and 5 touchdowns. And then think about how bad the Eagles receivers were. What happens if they add a guy? I mean, I guess they can't really add much in free agency now, but surely they're going to add their first round pick. If their first round pick isn't a wide receiver, someone in Philadelphia needs to get fired. So, I would. It would be hard for me to put Ertz at 3.
What is their pick? What number do they have?
It's
Second, I'm looking it up.
late teens or early. It's around 20, I think.
Because they were
Do you
fighting
think
for
Judy
a fake
will fall
playoff
that
spot.
far?
What's that?
Do you think Judy will
21.
fall?
They've got pick 21.
No, I think it's probably going to be somebody like. Well, it's possible, but I think they would be more likely to get somebody like Ruggs. I could see
Yeah.
maybe because I don't know if people are going to as blazing fast as he is. This isn't the Al Davis type drafts anymore, where they just look at a receiver's 40 time and say, "Oh, we got to have that guy." So I think Ruggs could probably be the one that falls a little bit. But you've got CeeDee Lamb, Jerry Jeudy, Henry Ruggs. One of those guys, I would think, might slip to around that pick.
That'd be interesting.
Hmm.
Okay. You guys excited about doing how many you want to do? Top 20, top 10?
I mean, top 10, maybe top 15 at max, maybe
Top
something like
15.
that.
Let's do top 15. Yeah, that's
top
good.
15. Because the top 10 can kind of be boring. We could probably
Yeah.
It'll be very similar.
yeah.
My main question: are we doing kicker rankings?
Uh,
All right.
I mean, we can't. Let's not do it this time. Maybe we can do
No.
it. Maybe we can do it before the season.
Okay.
But if anybody needs our way too early kicker rankings,
I will have kicker rankings for y'all.
Now that Gostkowski has been released, right?
Yeah,
he was released.
that shocked me, honestly.
yeah. Well, and the Ravens became so efficient last year in the red zone and scoring
Yeah.
position that Justin Tucker wasn't really that good anymore. So
I think he still finished third, though. I think in
he
kicking.
killed me in some of the fantasy playoff games though. I mean, just was turning in like 4 points or something, So
He still did finish third somehow, but I think a lot of that was early season getting carried.
could have been. Yeah. I mean,
last year was weird for kickers. It was really weird.
It
Yeah.
was.
Greg the Leg, remember he petered off?
yeah. The Falcons went through multiple kickers, Matt Bryant,
Yeah.
Youngwei Koo. He's back again. So yeah, I can't, my mind can't go to kickers just yet.
I don't want to waste my time looking.
Harrison Butker, Will Lutz, Jason Sanders from Miami.
There we go. That's all you need.
Right. Yeah.
All right, guys. Well, I got to take off. You guys want to just wrap it up here right now?
Sure.
You guys have anything else we could talk about?
I'm trying to think if we missed anything or not.
We talked about the
Cam. Brady.
Oh, has there been any updates on Sean Payton and his battle with COVID?
Oh, right. Not that I've seen. We can Google that real quick, but yeah. Oh, they there was an update from one sports personality with it. Rudy Gobert, the center for
Grizzlies, right?
the Utah Jazz.
Yes, Rats.
And this was actually something that I'd seen in an article a couple of days prior to him saying this. But apparently, one of the symptoms of COVID-19 is that you basically temporarily lose your sense of smell, just like
I heard that
entirely.
Yeah,
I never heard that. That's crazy.
Yeah, because the thing's replicating in your nasal passages and your throat initially and stuff like that, and so it causes you to lose your sense of smell. So that's another way for I think that you can kind of realize if you've got it or not, which I don't know how consistent that is in terms of where that symptom comes in the process. But yeah, I mean, you think about how we're going into nearly April, and so there's always a chance you could have like pollen affecting you or something like that and get stuffy. But I don't know if COVID-19 causes that same kind of stuffiness in the nose, or if it just causes you to lose your sense of smell. But if that is the case, then I think that's an indicator of it, because I'd seen a couple days prior to that where like more than 2/3, I think, of patients had reported the same thing in countries like Italy, that they lost their sense of smell, that like couldn't even smell.
It's
like,
interesting.
Yeah. Like they couldn't even smell, like a mother talking about how she couldn't smell like her child's, diaper if it was like soiled or whatever, and things like that. Just couldn't smell anything. So, yeah.
Huh.
But did we find anything on Peyton?
He says he's feeling okay. I mean,
Yeah.
there isn't really anything that much.
Hey man, that's good enough for me.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Oh, what's it called? I know that you guys aren't, or at least Judah Buddha, I know you aren't as huge of a, on another note, I know you aren't as huge as a defensive guy, but I just still cracks me up when I saw that the Eagles got Darius Slay from the Lions to help their secondary, which was
Ooh,
much needed. And I looked at it and I was like, okay, so they gave up a 3rd round and a 5th round to get Darius Slay. Good trade from my eyes. And we live in a world where the Ravens can get Calais Campbell for a 5th round pick from Jacksonville. I still don't get it. It's like I looked at the Eagles and I'm like, you bolstered your secondary. Lions didn't get great picks, but I feel like it was fair for Darius. And the Jaguars keep getting robbed. Like, I just don't get it.
Robbed or it's a fire sale.
I don't look, if they're trying to get us to quote unquote trust the process, I don't trust it yet. Because they're getting peanuts for these guys they're giving away. I don't understand.
I wonder if the Jags are just tanking for Trevor.
I think they're tanking to move. They're playing 2 games in London.
That's true. Yeah. And that was actually something that I saw about the new collective bargaining agreement was that, well, actually, I don't remember how this shook out in the end or if this was really decided, but this may be something that's not decided yet. But what I saw was that there was a possibility that 17th game of the season could mean that every team plays a game in London, so that London would have a full like 16-17 game season of games there.
Interesting. That's kind of cool. But I mean, that late in the season though, right before playoffs.
No, I don't think it would be the 17th game.
Yeah,
for everybody.
that's interesting. I think that does make more sense than just sending, the Rams to have 20 hours of jet lag against Jacksonville. So I think that makes more sense.
Yeah,
I think Jacksonville would love to move to London. I think they would.
Well, who do you mean by they?
Yeah, I get a question. I don't know. The spirit of Jackson, the spirit of the Jaguar.
The owner,
David
Shad Khan.
Yeah.
Khan would probably love it. Like
he'll just move him to Qatar.
the players wouldn't love it. That would be a pain. I think it would be cool. I think it'd be cool to like if NFL went more global, but just the logistics of it would be very difficult. You would have to set it up to where they would play like 4 straight home games and then come back to the States and have like a facility here where that they're like
complicated,
kind of based out. Yeah. So, but I think it'd be cool. I think it'd be cool.
They're just gonna have to rebrand as the I don't know, Manchester Teacups or something like that. I don't know.
No teacups.
Hey, whatever would cause them to get rid of those stupid 2-tone helmets. But now, because Jacksonville is going to have now. Oh, there's one more thing we've got to talk about.
Yeah.
Sorry, if you got just a minute, Judah.
Rams.
The Rams logo.
Hold on, I've got the image pulled up. I was preparing for this. Give me a second.
Oh, well, he's bringing that up. I do like your idea of tanking for Trevor. I hadn't even thought. Like, why wouldn't you?
Or Justin Fields. Keep that in mind.
This would be a great year to tank.
This would be a great year to tank. I think there's also another like Mahomes type quarterback coming out of. I don't know if it's North Dakota State but I saw a clip of it and I'm like, ooh, man, he's pretty good. I'll have to research that later. I can go back and look at it for Saturday's podcast.
Interesting.
But this would be a great year to tank. Yeah. But what if Trevor then didn't come out? Like that would be soul crushing,
Well, you got those other guys you guys are talking about.
Yeah.
All right. So what do we got as far as the Rams? All
right, here we go. Ladies and gentlemen, we present to you terror. No, I'm kidding. We present to you the Rams' new logos.
That one on the left is just like the most LA East logo.
Yeah.
Like that, if there's a logo that could possibly sum up like an LA based business trying to do a cheap like cash grab to casual fans who probably can't even name 3 players on the team.
Yeah.
Like that logo on the left
Yeah.
is exactly that. And everybody's talked about it. It looks like some sort of combination of the Rams and Chargers.
Right.
I think it looks like they're trying to go for something that both resembles a ram horn and maybe like a wave.
I don't know.
Pacific Ocean.
I saw a lot of people talking about how it looks like somebody's hair coming down like
Yeah.
this.
Oh yeah. I saw someone put it on like Donald Trump's head.
Yeah.
It's a croissant.
Yeah. It looks like a croissant. It's just it's a nightmare. It's a nightmare. Like something's got to be really bad for me to comment on it because most, at most everything falls within, boundaries of this is fine. This is just fine.
Yeah.
There are some exceptions like the Jaguars' stupid 2-toned helmets.
Yeah.
The Bucks stupid uniforms with those digital clock numbers.
Well, they're changing those. They're changing those.
They're changing those. And then this falls in that category with those other things. It just and the other one looks bad too. It looks less bad. It looks not as bad by comparison. But if you go back and look at their old one, like it looks good. It looks
Their
fine.
old one was decent.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
Right.
this
Right.
one looks like they had like some kind of contest, or they went on like some kind of crowdsourcing thing and like, hey, make us a logo, and you got people on there that never made logos before. It's like, what does a ram look like? Okay, they're making it with MS Paint.
To me, it looks like what the logo would look like if there was a Rams app on your iPhone.
Yes,
Yes, that's true. That's very
that's
true.
perfect.
That's very true. I will say I'll defend the Ram. I'm okay with the Ram, but the first time I looked at the LA Rams logo, I literally thought, why did they add a banana? I was so
It does look like a banana.
I was so lost, and I saw the Ram.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm okay with that, but the thing that confuses me is they literally rebranded like 5 years ago. They went back to the older blue and white. They ditched the weird gold, and they went back to classic blue, yellow, and white, and it looked good.
Right.
I don't get it.
They're it's just solely because they're going into a new stadium.
I don't get it. I don't. I really don't. Now, I will say, though, as atrocious as it is nowhere near as bad as the atrocity that was, if I can pull it up real quick, the pitched Chargers logo,
Ooh,
which was horrible.
Oh, I forgot about that. Was that real? Was that
That
real?
was
I don't remember.
That was real. They were
It
gonna
looks like it looks like they I don't know, like someone
it's like in the
It
pitch
looks like
session. They're like, we want the Avengers, but we also want the Flash. How can we bring those two guys together?
Yeah.
I mean, to me it's almost like one coworker said to another, like, "Oh, so did you do that mock-up that's
Yeah.
due in 10 minutes?" And he was like, "Oh crap!" And then he like grabbed like a Dodgers logo and then warped it in Photoshop and then stuck a lightning bolt.
Yeah.
And then stuck a lightning bolt. And that's exactly how that logo came about.
Which
Yeah.
is funny because I actually have the Chargers-Dodgers picture up here of how similar that was.
Yeah. Yeah, like
That is
that's
sad.
just like all they did is they just warped it and then they just turned that little, the little L turned up there into a lightning bolt. That's what happened. So, all right.
All right, guys. Well, thank you for joining
Yeah.
joining us, being here.
Sorry, I was a little
Together?
late tonight.
You will be flogged. I'm sorry, but those are the rules. I didn't make them. I didn't just make them up right now.
I will alter
It's
the
a,
deal.
it's a little more egregious now because it's like, where else do you have to be?
Yeah, that's true.
That is true.
Are you
Oh,
in the
you have-
bathroom?
You're
Me?
Yeah.
No, this is a curtain.
Oh,
I'm in
okay.
a living room. I wasn't in my normal spot because the lights looked weird.
it
It
does
doesn't
look
matter.
just the way the light is like it's clear plastic and it does look a little bit like a shower curtain.
Yeah. Okay, whatever.
It's okay. It's okay.
You know, I was just thinking though, we should do later, if we have the chance, we should live stream round 1 of the draft. We should live stream
Oh,
here.
I am
well,
in on that.
I love that idea since, I mean, we're definitely not going to be anywhere in a restaurant or bar or anything. When is that?
April 23rd.
That's a Thursday night, I think.
I think
Right.
so, yeah.
I'm game.
Yeah.
That'd be awesome.
Love that.
Yeah, that's good. Let's do it.
Yes.
Let's
Okay.
do it.
Yes.
It's a good idea. That'll be fun.
The
All right.
only thing is, it tends to be really like it's always longer than I think. You know,
Well, we can filibuster.
that's true.
Yeah, I mean, we can, and we don't have to do necessarily the whole draft because that thing goes for like 3 hours to do 32 picks. So,
Yeah,
maybe we cut it
top
off.
20 or something.
Yeah.
We can just see how it goes. But
Yeah.
but we should definitely at least do it. That'd be fun.
Yeah,
That would
that'd be really
fun.
cool.
Let's do that.
And maybe like, I don't know, the episode before we do like maybe a mock draft of our own or top 10 or something,
Yeah.
maybe to prepare for it just in future, in
Yep.
the future.
Yeah, I like it.
That'd be cool.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you guys once again, and thank you everybody who is watching, whoever you are, and may you come back. We will be back on Saturdays and Tuesdays, tentatively, and we will be presenting next week. We have a game apparently, and presenting our way too early.
Way too early. Predictions for
Not predictions.
top 10 rankings, fantasy
rankings.
I can't
We
speak.
need to call them something else, like the not as early as some people projection, because like that's everybody's thing is like way too early and they've been out
Yeah.
since like the end of the season.
Yeah.
So ours can be the like not as early as everybody else's.
Yeah.
That's good.
And you have to say it in that inflection too.
Right. Yeah. It's
I
like
like
it's
that.
like the college football predictions for like week 0. This is our week 0 for fantasy rankings.
There you go. Yeah.
Not as early as other people.
Right.
Not
Right. You gotta
quite.
say it. You gotta say it with that inflection or it doesn't work. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, well, thus ends our broadcast, and we will see you again on Saturday.
Cool.
Bye bye.
Adios.